Right now to talk more about this issue and the appearance there of the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, before Scopa. We are joined by an energy expert, and his name is Hartmut Winkler. He joins us via our Zoom link. Professor, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. You know, let's start here. What do you make of the Minister's appearance there before Scopa?
I thought it was rather disappointing. I don't think anything came out that we didn't know already. The Scopa set of meetings is supposed to determine what the facts are, how much evidence there is for malfeasance at Eskom, whether there's any truth to some of these allegations or not. And we're just not hearing anything. It's rather we're hearing this, especially today, being used to cast aspersions, attack a certain individual, in this case, Andre de Ruyter. To me, it's neither here or there whether Andre de Ruyter was a good CEO or not, whether he wrote the book now or he wrote it last year or so. The critical thing is that we are in a deep crisis. Eskom is in severe difficulties, and we need responsible and mature leadership at this stage to get us out of here. We don't want to hear ministers saying so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that. It's like passing the buck. And so I was personally quite disappointed. And
Professor, one would ask that you are saying that you are personally disappointed, and, you know, we've heard nothing new here. What does it say about the minister, especially when it comes to the issue of Eskom and being accountable to the public? And when we've heard it all, and there was nothing new, no new information here that has come to light where we can hold them accountable.
Yes, well, what the minister did say is that he agrees that corruption and sabotage is a problem at Eskom. It might not be the major problem that's behind load shedding, but it is something which would certainly improve the situation if correctly dealt with. So if this initiative that Andre de Ruyter went through is worthless, then I'd like to see what other approaches are going to be taken to deal with this particular issue. I think there's also clear signs, and it's always been a problem now for several years, that government doesn't really seem to know where it stands and which way it wants to go regarding the solving of the electricity crisis. There's players pulling in different directions. And I think it's leading to a situation where everybody seems to be blaming somebody else for where things are going wrong. What we really need, and it's not only government, we also need opposition parties to pull together to look at where we want to be. I think everybody knows where we want to be, and then just simply look at the options of getting there and how we're going to go best. The country needs a new electricity plan, and we've been promised that that's going to be coming out soon, but the plan's already late. It was supposed to have been worked on 2 years, was published 2 years after the previous one, which was in 2019. So instead we have parties going to court, even though they've known that there's been a problem with electricity for ages and they were in parliament and didn't raise this. So everybody seems to be trying to score points. People are already thinking of the elections next year, but they're not actually addressing the issue. We are in a very difficult situation. I don't want to say a war situation, but we are in a situation where we really need the whole country to pull together and not fight amongst everybody else and try and score points. And that's all I'm really seeing from the various political players and even people within individual parties fighting each other on that basis.
And the minister there has also been criticized because we were told by Andre de Ruyter that, certain senior members of cabinet actually know who are the names who are implicated in the rot and Eskom. Also, they're not willing, to give us an insight in terms of to name and shame exactly who is under the alleged corruption at Eskom.
Yes, I put it that way. I would have been very surprised if Minister Gordhan actually had mentioned names. I mean, that would really set a cat amongst the pigeons. I think he was clearly not, given that de Ruyter already declined to name who he had suspected. I think it's quite clear that Pravin Gordhan wasn't going to name them either. And I can bet you that Sidney Mufamadi, when he comes on next week, isn't going to say anything as well. yes, I think it was quite not the best idea of Andre de Ruyter to state this as some sort of a fact that he had proof of when he originally made came up with this, because it's quite clear now that he doesn't have proof that these certain individuals were involved. So that aspect doesn't surprise me, but I don't like the way people are now not, looking at what the real issue is that we want to be addressed. It's not whether so-and-so said this or didn't say that. It's how are we going to solve the electricity crisis.
And Professor, I don't know if you also heard another clip that we played a bit earlier on from Busi Mavuso, basically talking about that private intelligence report and basically saying that we have heard that no one has this report, but she's clearly stated there, there needs to be some sort of committee that actually delves deep into this report. When it comes to this issue of this report, what is your take on this issue, and whether should there be a parliamentary process that is taken underway and actually look into this report so that we can get the answers of what went wrong at Eskom?
Yes, well, we seem to be good at setting up committees. That unfortunately committees do take quite a long time to go through. I personally would really welcome it if there was a deep and thorough investigation about what's been happening at Eskom for several years now. Whether we are going to get that, whether some sort of body is going to be set up to do this, and whether they're actually going to have the tools to deal with it in a reasonable time, I'm really not sure about. But yes, at this point we've gotten to the point where everybody in the country is speculating. People are making aspersions left, right, and centre. It would be good to have some actual facts. Right now, clearly, even within government, we've got denials, people that have appeared at this commission. Today also, Pravin Gordhan accused Professor Mkhuleko of not telling the truth. So we just had people contradicting each other left, right, and centre. And I don't want to say people are deliberately doing, but it clearly shows that people are not on the same page, and they're busy shifting blame.
All right, then. Thank you very much there. That is Professor Hartmut Winkler, an energy expert, just talking about the appearance there of the Minister of Public Enterprises when he made that appearance today before Parliament.